A little chart of... actually, I have no idea what it's about.
What do you make of it?
Not a whole lot.
It's bigger in here than I thought it would be. It's bigger in here than I thought it would be.
Tools. Used by a gardener. For gardening.
Is that fruit? It's shaped like fruit.
Too shiny to be fruit. I think it's glowing a little, too.
Safe to eat, do you think?
I'm gonna say no.
You ever see a mushroom that big before?
Not in real life.
$314 cases solved.
314?
Professor Pointer's a respectable astronomer. Keeps himself to himself. What?
We're just surprised.
That was the most polite you've been about anyone.
Quite the stoic statue, isn't she? I can only dream of being as cold and indifferent as Flora Fellow.
You think she's hiding something?
Perhaps. She has some strange habits. I heard she barely sleeps, an hour here or there, sporadically. Spends the rest of her time staring up at the sky. Did you get anything useful out of him?
Not sure. What about you?
Nothing worth committing to paper.
I think he knows more than he lets on.
Probably. But talking with him is so tedious. Freya Fellow is of great interest to me. I perceived her to be the most intelligent individual here at Tangle Tower. Within a day, she had identified for whom I was working and for what I was searching. I didn't know how she did it. I was impressed. I regret that I did not question her more thoroughly when I had the opportunity.
You couldn't have known she was about to be killed, though.
I have only myself to blame for failing to perceive the signs.
What signs?
I do not wish to do your job for you, Detective. I find her rather embarrassing, little more than a spoilt child.
Penny must be at least 25.
27. Just makes it worse. Poppy has remarkable musical talent. She could be famous, wealthy even, if she wanted to.
She'd probably have to leave Tangle Tower first.
Quite. I'll say this, he's well suited to physical labor.
That's a nice way to put it.
Fitz spends most of his time alone in the greenhouse, but I heard he's been breeding experimental flowers. In secret.
Whoa, scandal.
I just wonder if he's getting restless. Considerably intelligent, and her powers of observation are enviable. But she has no ambition. No focus.
In her defense, she's still a teenager.
Barely. You consider that important evidence, do you? These people really are ridiculous, aren't they? Where did you find this?
Do you have any theories about where this might have been?
Or who might have had it.
I have several theories, but they are my theories, and I'm not going to share them. Does Flora still own that bird? Do you know?
Don't think so. The drawings are from a few years ago.
I see. These figurines remind me of a case I once solved involving a possessed doll. Turned out to be a bit of a smokescreen, as these things often do.
Your life sounds fun. Grimoire, why don't we ever have fun adventures like that?
Are we not having a fun adventure right at this very moment?
I'd tell him not to quit his day job. But he hasn't got one, has he?
When did Freya draw the picture of you, Hawkshaw?
I didn't model for her, if that's what you're asking. She must have done it without my permission.
Could just be from memory. It's not quite as detailed as the others anyway.
I admit, it's powerful. Freya was a talented young woman.
Someone even liked it enough to take a photo of it.
Now, we don't know why they took the photograph, do we? Perhaps they just wanted it for reference. A photograph of Freya. Could be important. A book from the library. One of hundreds, no doubt. What makes this one special?
It's about birds.
Yes, I see that. A diary. Have you read it?
Not yet. It's locked.
And you haven't attempted to force it open?
That would be cheating.
Is that a clue?
Dunno. It was important enough to be framed, though.
I framed my law degree. Doesn't make it a clue.
Same? Yeah?
Some breed of amphibious humanoid. Potentially bipedal. Although none of the statues show the creature's feet.
I guess we'll never know.
Do you also have a pile of leaves as a clue?
Oh, not yet. Did you see some suspicious leaves?
Paints?
Yep.
Paints.
Mm-hmm.
The paint is still wet.
Yeah, well, we know Freya was in the middle of painting when she was killed.
Do you know that? How? Because you were told? You got it open. I'm impressed. I managed it myself yesterday. I thought Flora might be hiding something in there.
It was empty yesterday, too.
It was. Perhaps it's always been empty.
This belongs to you, Hawkshaw?
Correct.
And, what is it?
It's my handheld microscope for up-close investigation work.
What do you magnify with it?
Trace particles, dust, oils, clothing fibers.
Have you used it here at Tangle Tower?
I have. I used it to examine the greenhouse only 2 days ago.
What were you looking for?
That is between myself and my client. The people here are surprisingly materialistic, considering how sheltered they are.
Materialistic?
Growing this fruit simply because it produces a gemstone-like material. For what possible purpose, other than financial gain?
You're speculating.
What would you do, Grimoire, if you could grow valuable stone straight from the earth? This is a potential murder weapon, is it not?
I don't know. I don't think the murderer would leave the murder weapon just lying around.
I think you'd be surprised as to what people leave lying around. Who's that?
Not sure. It doesn't really look like anyone we've met so far.
Strange. One of 3 statues depicting the same creature. This one is wearing headphones. Perhaps they belong to someone who likes music.
They're not headphones. They're earmuffs. For blocking out sound.
Perhaps they belong to someone who doesn't like music. I believe that was in Flora's room yesterday, but it was not cracked when I saw it last. A somewhat cumbersome device, and an altogether inefficient way to listen to music.
What kind of music do you like, Hawkshaw?
I like anything.
What a cop-out.
Makes quite an impression, doesn't it? Although I can't imagine why she painted Flora wielding a knife.
You didn't see a knife anywhere in Flora's room, did you?
I did not. I conclude whatever stabbed Freya must have been brought into the room from outside. Unless, of course, it was the painting itself.
Surely you don't believe in that kind of thing.
A detective's job is to examine every avenue of thinking. Conveniently left anonymous. It's useless until you can prove to whom it concerns. Can you do that?
No.
No. Have you deciphered the meaning of those 4 symbols on the harp?
We're working on it.
That's a no, then. Where'd you dig that up?
It wasn't buried. It was underwater.
Someone trying to conceal evidence, perhaps? You truly consider this a case file?
What's wrong with it?
No organization, no system.
That's my style. I like seeing everything laid out at once. Yeah, it helps me think.
How quaint. Tangle Tower. No idea why they insist on calling it that. It's not even a tower. It's little more than a pair of turrets stuck on either side of a mansion.
Have you searched the whole place?
I believe so. Why?
He wants to know if you found any secret rooms.
Huh. I'm afraid the residents of Tangle Tower are far too ordinary for anything like that. I was disappointed too.
There's something about Hawkshaw's handheld microscope. Something suspicious.
Let's ask her about it.
This little microscope thing? You said you used it to search the greenhouse.
And this would make perfect sense, if you knew what my client had asked me to find. Of course, I still have no intention of disclosing that information.
You're such a tease, Hawkshaw. Don't worry, we already worked out what you're searching for.
You're not as hopeless as you look.
Thanks.
So, that's what you were looking for in the greenhouse? This beetle?
Surely even you can understand the logic of it. The greenhouse is home to a great many insects. The gardener could have easily kept the beetle hidden in there.
Well, Fitz said you questioned him, but didn't actually search the greenhouse.
He is not exactly the type to appreciate subtlety. He simply didn't notice that I was using my microscope.
What do you reckon, Grimoire?
I know for a fact she didn't use the microscope in the greenhouse. It's not a microscope at all.
All of a sudden, Detective Grimoire is some kind of expert on microscopes.
The handheld microscope is made entirely out of gemstones, so Hawkshaw was honest. Nope. Gemstones is a part of Flora's egg, so Hawkshaw lied about it. That's not right. The handheld microscope, according to Fifi, uses a fake glass lens, so Hawkshaw lied about it. Almost. Maybe just change one thing. The handheld microscope, according to Fifi, uses a fake glass lens, which makes it the murder weapon. That's not right either. The handheld microscope, according to Fifi, uses a fake glass lens, so Fifi stole it. That's not right either. The handheld microscope, according to Fifi, uses Fifi's eye gear, so Hawkshaw stole it. That's not right either. The handheld microscope, according to Fifi, uses a fake glass lens, so Hawkshaw was honest. That's not right either. The handheld microscope, according to Fifi, uses a fake glass lens, so Hawkshaw lied about it. Almost. Maybe just change one thing. The handheld microscope, according to Fifi, uses a magnifying glass, so Hawkshaw lied about it. Almost. Maybe just change one thing. The handheld microscope, according to Fifi, uses a telescopic lens, so Hawkshaw lied about it. I'm inclined to believe Fifi when it comes to stuff like this.
Hawkshaw, why did you lie about owning a telescope?
When you were a child, what did you aspire to become?
A detective? Naturally.
Emperor of the Galaxy?
I wanted to be an astronomer.
Really?
I harbored a desire to understand the secrets of the wider universe. A fool's errand, to be sure, but a seductive one. At 15, I decided instead to apply my intelligence to the world around me. And so, I became a detective. But the yearning for elusive knowledge is a powerful force. I tried to keep it with me.
Sorry, but we're way off track. What's the deal with the little telescope?
A memento from my childhood. Little more than a toy.
Why did you bring it with you?
When I discovered that it was Professor Pointer who had hired me, I dared to consider it something of a planetary alignment. I had hoped he might sign my telescope. An extremely childish indulgence, I admit.
I never would have guessed.
Hold on. You're admitting you didn't use it in the greenhouse then?
Correct. As it happens, I have no need to search the greenhouse to such a degree. Professor Pointer doesn't consider the gardener a suspect in our theft investigation.
So, who is your suspect?
Things have become complicated. My lead suspect is your murder victim.
It's Tangle Tower. Or at least it's the mansion at the base of Tangle Tower. I'm still not sure about this thing.
Should we take another look?
Let's come back later. It's too cloudy to see any stars right now.
It's also daytime.
Hard to read, that one, but she seems to know what she's doing.
She's kind of mean.
You know, I simply assumed all detectives were sharp, rigorous, and thorough. Then, of course, I met you. I don't especially want to talk about myself. Introspection often leads to vanity.
Wait, does it?
Why don't we discuss the moons of Jupiter instead?
I'm not sure if we have time. Aren't there like 10 of them?
83.
Yeah, we don't have time.
A listless soul drifting through the ether.
What's wrong with her?
Not sure. She's always been troubled. Comes from a dysfunctional family. I'd say you could ask her about it, but I think you might find that to be a bit of a dead end. He should learn to make the most of his lot in life. And he does have a lot in life.
You're talking about money?
Among other things, but yes, he currently has agency over a small fortune. That is, if he hasn't already squandered it or lost it.
You two don't get on?
Oh no, we're the best of friends. Ah, Penelope, our resident ornithologist.
Penny's your niece, is that right?
At this moment in time, until she marries the gardener.
She'll still be your niece.
But she'll depart from the world of the Pointers and join the Fellows. Like rats deserting a sinking ship. Nobody could deny her talent. She was remarkable, artistically gifted, but also highly intelligent.
Those two things aren't mutually exclusive, you know.
Was she ever interested in astronomy?
I don't think she was. The fault may well lie with me for failing to inspire her. But I think she was captivated by more tangible things here on Earth. My daughter loved her. Fiona, too. That said, in the last year or so, more and more I've begun to notice her by herself, wandering the gardens at the most peculiar hours. She must have explored every inch of the grounds 100 times over. Quite a restless spirit, I think. I'm surprised she chose to live at Tangle Tower as long as she did. Ah, yes, the heiress of Tangle Tower. Goodness knows what'll happen when she takes charge. I dare say she'll confiscate my telescope and replace it with a microscope.
She doesn't seem to be the type to impress her will on others.
Still, keep an eye on her. Dangerously intelligent, that one.
You sound jealous. Wait, are you two science rivals?
Oh no, we operate on very different wavelengths. Literally. What do you want me to say? He's the gardener.
He's a member of the family.
Yeah, but not the Pointer family.
What happened to his parents, do you know?
His father, Flint, is Felix's brother. Strange man. Don't think anybody knows what happened to him, but he certainly doesn't live here anymore.
What about his mother?
Emily? I've not met her. She never actually married into the Fellow family. Her relationship with Flint was, it was short-lived. My Poppy, my pride and joy. Exceptionally talented pianist from a young age. She... Hold on. Why is she on your list of suspects?
Because she's a suspect.
Oh no, I can personally vouch for her innocence. She'd never... Well, the truth is, she loved Freya very dearly.
If you don't mind me asking, what happened to Poppy's mother?
Primrose? She was Flora's sister, a Remington by birth. The playing field has never really been even since she left.
Where did she go?
Away. She went away. Well now, that is most definitely none of my business. Quite possibly none of yours either. What kind of flower is that?
We're not sure. I think it might be the only one of its kind.
Primrose would know. My wife was a floriculturalist. Best in the field. That's a flower joke, but she was.
Interesting.
Yes, very nice. Where is that bird of Flora's? It's been a while since I've seen it. This looks a little rushed, even by Felix's standards.
At least he tried.
Yes, I suppose it's good for the old fellow to have a hobby. Keeps his mind from decaying, you know. This is supposed to be Felix, is it?
I think so.
I see he's afforded himself considerable artistic license. That's a very old book, isn't it? Looks like someone could have taken better care of it.
I like the look of a well-read book. Better than one that's never been opened.
Ah, well put. Oh, my. This is the first piece that Primrose ever learnt on the piano. Primrose, that is Poppy's mother. She passed it down to Poppy when she started teaching her how to play.
Poppy's piano teacher was her mother?
Of course. Warms my heart to know that after everything, Poppy still has it up on her wall. I think you may wish to adjust your threshold of what you consider to be a clue. Oh, you found a murder weapon?
Steady on. It's just a gardening trowel.
Looks like a weapon to me. Fitz seems rather keen to grow things like this in his greenhouse, doesn't he?
What's wrong with that?
Well, you can't eat it. Makes you wonder why he bothers at all. Curious little thing, isn't it? Do you know what she keeps in there?
Nothing. At the moment. It was empty when we opened it.
How bizarre.
Can't a woman keep an empty egg in her room?
Here's a thought. Do you suppose the paintbrush could be the murder weapon? After all, it was found at the scene, right next to Freya's body.
I guess it's possible.
Is this important?
Possibly.
I haven't seen that tape for a long time. Who broke it?
No idea.
Ah, well, possessions are fleeting, my friends. Pointer property originally, purloined by the fellows. Typical. I find that painting to be in rather bad taste.
Oh, yeah?
The knife with real blood on it? The whole thing is rather vulgar. Where on earth did you find that?
It was in a bush outside. I think someone threw it away.
How peculiar. Isn't the process of decay fascinating?
It's not really decaying. It's plastic.
It's becoming one with nature, all the same. Not exactly a wealth of information, is it?
It's enough. A picture frame.
With no picture.
A bell jar. It's empty.
What do people normally keep in bell jars?
Other than bells, you mean?
Pretty.
Trinkets.
They're clearly gizmos.
Every astronomy tower needs a telescope.
I want to try. It's that little plant Flora keeps on the window ledge.
Don't you think it would fall off? In the wind.
Maybe it's glued down. Is that a window?
I think it is.
Is there another room above Flora's room?
We should check that next time we're over there. You can see right into Flora's room.
Not by accident.
I can see Flora, but she's not looking this way. She's looking up. Behind her is the backside of the easel holding Freya's unfinished painting. I can't really see anything behind it. Not from this angle. I can just about see the gramophone. It's the tower opposite this one. You can see right into Flora's room.
Not by accident.
I can see Flora, but she's not looking this way. She's looking up. Behind her is the backside of the easel holding... I can't really see anything behind it. Not from... It's the tower opposite this one. Isn't this supposed to be an astronomy telescope? I'm pretty sure you need to see the sky for astronomy to work.
I can't move it. I think this is just how it's set up.
There's something about Pointer's astronomy habits. Something suspicious.
Let's ask him about it.
So, Professor, what interests you about astronomy exactly?
It's not a matter of being interested. Once you expand your mind to the wider universe, it cannot be unexpanded.
Mm-hmm. And how long have you been an astronomer?
I really don't like to give exact values unless I'm sure I can quantify them.
Convenient.
Why do you ask me these things?
I have a theory about you, Professor.
Oh? Go on.
You're not really interested in astronomy at all.
What could you possibly mean by that?
I think you're interested in a slightly different field of research.
That's not it. That's not it. That's not it.
I don't have time for tiny, insignificant insects. My studies focus only on the inconceivably large and the unimaginably far away.
Right. That's why you like using your telescope so much.
Yes, naturally. My little portal into another world.
Yeah, about that. Pointer's telescope was actually looking at the crime scene and not up at the sky.
First you accuse me of being a lowly entomologist. Now you're accusing me of, what, spying?
Are you spying?
Why would I need to spy on Flora?
Why? Because you lost your golden beetle specimen, and it's made you paranoid. You think somebody stole it from you.
Might not have been Flora you were spying on. Might have been Freya.
It's... you... It's a very precious specimen, incredibly rare, valuable in ways you could never understand. Freya was always sneaking around, both towers and in the gardens too. She was definitely up to something.
So, this next question is important. You were looking to Flora's room around the time of the murder. Did you witness the crime, Professor?
No, I didn't. When I looked into the room, Flora was already lying on the floor.
Flora? You mean Freya?
No, Flora. She was lying by the window. I couldn't see Freya at all. It was fairly dark. The telescope isn't at a very good angle. That's why I decided to head over there myself. I needed to know what was going on.
This changes your statement, doesn't it?
No, everything I told you in my statement was true.
Apart from the reason you left your tower in the first place.
Right.
They're bird cages, but the birds are coming and going freely.
Is that a metaphor?
Oh, it totally is.
An especially fancy cage.
And it's home to 3 especially fancy birds.
I feel like I'm standing in a giant bird cage. Bird diagrams, hand-painted.
They're beautiful. Someone really knows their stuff.
I feel like I'm standing in a giant bird cage. My little writing desk. It's kind of cute.
There's nothing written in the book, although someone's torn a page out of the middle.
A rather magnificent bush, somewhat cruelly confined to a stone pot.
There's a letter P carved into the side.
A rather magnificent bush.
There's a letter P carved into the side.
I must say the girls are awfully well behaved today. I think they know we're in the presence of company.
They belong to you? Why do you keep them in a cage?
They need a special diet, particular treatment. I let them out to fly occasionally, of course. But they're all one of a kind. I couldn't let anything happen to them.
Do they have names?
Of course. Let me introduce you to Tabitha, Tamara, and Tatiana.
I've already forgotten all 3 of those names.
Which one is which?
Oh, that's simple. Tatiana is the oldest, Tabitha is the most patient, and Tamara has the best sense of rhythm.
Glad we cleared that up.
What about the one on your head?
On my head? He's just my hat. He doesn't have a name. Who would name their hat? It's that bird. But these must have been drawn at least a year ago. Oh, how sad. If I'm not mistaken, that little red and white one is supposed to be a bird of some kind. Somebody taking an interest in extinct animals.
Extinct.
Oh, yes. The book is very old. Most of the birds in it are long gone.
Well, what about this bird, though? The ink dip.
This one, well, was thought to be extinct for a long time. Then one was found here at Tangle Tower.
So it's not extinct.
You misunderstand. It was the last one. The very last.
Oh.
Freya was very talented, even at that age.
Do you know how old this photo is?
Not sure. Must be a couple of years at least. Sometime before Fiona settled on her current style. I can't decide what's worse. How she looks here, or how she looks now.
Do you know who this is? In the photo?
Oh, absolutely no idea. Ooh, a secret diary.
That's our guess, too.
Excellent. Looks a little simple for Poppy, doesn't it? Thought she was a grade 12 or something.
I didn't know there were that many grades.
I'm sure they invented some new ones just for her. Haven't seen this one in a while. He lives in the music room, doesn't he?
Currently.
Lovely. Ooh, delightful. More of a gemstone than a fruit, isn't it?
Inedible, too, I think.
Yes. At one point I thought Fitz might be growing them to sell them. But honestly, I think he just likes the way they look. I don't know what that is. Gaudy old thing, isn't it? Flora seems very fond of it. I've never understood why. But then I could say the same thing about her husband.
Heyo!
Oh, that's rather sad. Freya doesn't take very good care of her pains, does she? But then she was always rather bohemian, had her own priorities. Oh, terrible.
You recognize it?
The color scheme. 3 different pinks. Obscene. I can't decide what's worse. Poppy's gramophone. She's had it for a long time. As a young child, she'd call it her mama phone, on account of it belonging to her mother.
That's cute.
Oh yes, adorable. I doubt Freya intended it, but the overall effect is a little unsettling. Don't you think? It's Flora that's the problem. She's an inescapably haunting presence, bless her. I'm sure I've read about this creature somewhere. Don't remember anything about him playing the harp, though. Goodness me. Poppy really doesn't take care of her belongings, does she?
It wasn't in Poppy's room. It was in the little pond in the garden.
Exactly! Hardly the place for it. Finally! I get to see a detective's case file.
That's a very specific thing to be excited about.
Only last week I asked that miserable Hawkshaw woman if I could see her case notes.
I'm guessing she said no.
Would have been much more polite if she had just said no. Instead, she was quite rude to me. Accused me of being, what was it? A shallow sensationalist. You know, it's probably quite impressive. To a visitor, fresh eyes and all that.
Not to you.
Try living in it for 20 years. The sheen wears off. If it wasn't for my fits, I'd have little reason to stay.
What about inheritance? You're the next oldest pointer after your uncle, aren't you?
Well, thank you very much for phrasing it like that. But no, any money left in the Pointer family will pass down directly to Poppy.
Is that fair?
I couldn't care less, to be perfectly honest. Oh, did you talk to Poppy already?
Yeah, a little bit.
And did you make any notes of what she told you?
Yeah, I did.
Lovely. Burn them. It'll all be lies.
Why would Poppy lie to us?
Because that's what she does. She's a snake. Looks like one, too.
Don't you think you're being a little unfair, Penny?
She started it. Oh, she's beautiful. Who is she? Wait, is that me? Can't say I've ever taken an interest in Uncle's astronomy. On occasion I've dared to visit him in his tower, but I always regret it. It's all just a little too abstract for me.
What do you mean?
Oh, did you know the sun is apparently over 400,000 miles wide? Okay, so What should I do with that information? How does it help me?
Don't look at me. You're the one who memorized it.
Isn't he strapping?
He is big.
And so brooding.
Kinda sulky, yeah.
I can never tell what's going on in that beautiful head of his.
It just sounds like you don't know him very well.
I don't remember asking for your input. She'd sit in the aviary, first thing in the morning, and paint the birds. Sometimes she'd ask me their names.
Freya was interested in studying bird species too?
No, just wanted to know their names. Isabelle, Clementine, Myrtle, Lysandre, Genevieve.
Got it, thanks.
For my 21st birthday, she gave me a framed painting. All the birds from a single spring, with their names written underneath. I can't begin to tell you how much I've treasured it.
Sounds like you two were close.
I feel like I always struggled to articulate my admiration for her, but she had a way of understanding unspoken things. She's a most unsavory little... She was incredibly rude about my appearance.
Which part? The giant bird arms, or...
If I were her, I'd go easy on the judgment of others. I mean, look at her. She looks like the ghost of a scarecrow. I just wish Uncle Pointer would tell her to behave herself.
Professor Pointer? Why him?
Oh, it was Uncle that called her in. She's his responsibility. Did you not know that? She mostly ignores me, if I'm honest.
How come?
Well, we're not quite on the same intellectual level.
Oh. You don't need to.
No, it's quite all right. I'm comfortable with it. I must say, I really don't care for the den of self-delusion that he's retreated into. People are better off when they just let themselves be themselves. Between you and me, I think Felix is secretly rather miserable. A fellow bird enthusiast. She's quite the expert, truth be told. Studied them professionally at one point. I think her father taught her.
Are you friends with Flora?
A little bit.
A little bit friends.
She's one for the peace and quiet. I dare say I'm a little too loud for her.
I can see that.
I do admire her, though, really. Always felt like she could have done better than settle for Felix.
Ouch.
I said it.
There's something about those petals we found in Penny's room. Something suspicious.
Let's ask her about it.
Yeah, we found this.
Oh, that's nothing.
You wrote, "Now I'll get her," on a piece of paper and hid it in your room. That's not nothing.
Actually, it's not the message I wanted to ask about. It's those red flower petals.
The petals.
They're from red roses. And there's only one place in Tangle Tower with red roses.
We need a clue. Something that shows the roses. And who they belong to. It's a drawing of Fitz and Poppy in the rooftop garden. See what Fitz is holding?
I can't imagine what you're getting at. But it doesn't matter. I couldn't have taken anything from the rooftop garden. It's only accessible from Fitz's room or Poppy's room. How could I have taken something from a garden to which I have no access?
Is it really only accessible from those two bedrooms?
For most people, it would be. But don't forget, Penny's the resident ornithologist.
My dears, what are you accusing me of?
One of Penny's birds was used to bribe Freya and Fitz and steal evidence from them. Nope. Penny's flower was used to bribe Freya and Fitz and steal evidence from them. That's not right. One of Penny's birds was used to spy on Poppy and Fitz and distract them. Almost. Maybe just change one thing. One of Penny's birds was used to spy on Poppy and Fitz and steal evidence from them. We know those two have been spending time together in the rooftop garden. I'm guessing you got paranoid. Wanted to know what they were up to.
I'm just not the jealous type. I would never suspect Fitz of anything like that. Besides, Tabitha hardly ever leaves her cage. She's certainly never flown up to the rooftop garden.
We need a clue to compare with Penny's birds. Something to prove one of them has been in the rooftop garden. Let's take a closer look at these. This yellow feather was left behind by Penny's yellow bird when it visited the rooftop garden.
I can't stand it! Knowing the two of them are hidden away up there in their private little garden. I couldn't risk spying on them myself, so I asked dear Tabitha to do it for me. I knew she'd be able to bring me back some evidence.
Sorry, Penny, but are you not overreacting a little?
You don't understand. Fitz is slipping away from me. He's so quiet with me these days, but being with Poppy seems to bring him out of his shell. I don't know what he sees in her miserable little... I apologize. This really isn't your burden to bear.
Sally, check those plants for clues.
Is soil a clue?
What is that?
I think it's a family tree.
Flint Fellow. I guess he doesn't live here anymore.
Richard Remington.
The one and only.
Penelope Pointer. You met her. She is one of the suspects.
Fiona Fellow. We met her. She's one of the suspects. Books about nature?
Books about space.
They're relatively untouched. Books about insects.
Well, theoretically. There's not a single book on that shelf.
Huh. Books about insects.
Well, theoretically. There's not a single book on that
Huh.
shelf.
Books about ancient history, I think?
These books are ancient history. I think they'd crumble into dust if I tried to pick them up.
Good excuse.
Thanks.
Sure. Why not build a science lab in the corner of the library?
The search for new knowledge. The archiving of old knowledge. It's downright poetic.
Sure. Why not
The
build...
search for new... The archiving is downright poetic. It's musty in here.
What exactly does that mean? What is must?
Must. You ask such stupid questions.
Nice.
I was in my room. The lights were off and the door was locked. Someone began banging on the door. I ignored it until the someone began shouting at me. I opened the door. Poppy came into my room. Her makeup was leaking. She told me Freya was dead. I did not believe it. I thought she was playing a trick on me, so I punched her in the face. She insisted that we go up to Flora's tower. We left the room, and Poppy's father was waiting outside. He followed us upstairs. When I saw Freya lying on the floor, I was completely and utterly devastated. Then, I took a sample of the red paint on the unfinished painting. Poppy and I took the sample back downstairs to the library. We performed a test and found out that it was, in fact, blood.
You performed that scientific test immediately, even though you were feeling so upset?
Of course. Why would one affect the other? Name, Freya Fellow. Age, 19. Profession, artist. Deceased. Understand this. Most people find me difficult. They exhibit a noticeable degree of discomfort when talking to me. There it is. Freya, who had a way of being an exception to any given rule, was not at all like this. She is very important, and I will not rest until I understand what has happened to her.
Did you spend a lot of time with Freya recently?
I will say this. In the past year, Freya became, 1, increasingly independent, and 2, increasingly isolated.
Do you know why?
I do not. If you are looking for a speculative, empathetic opinion, try asking Poppy instead.
The three of you are friends.
We are of a similar age, and all highly gifted. One scientist, one artist, and one musician.
Sounds like quite a team.
Name, Poppy Pointer. Age, 19. Profession, Apparently Poppy has defaced my notes. Under profession, I had of course originally written pianist, but she has crossed that out and written the ghost of Christmas yet to come. Name, Fitzfellow. Age, 24. Profession, cryptobotanist. Likes soil, dislikes electric lights.
Hang on. Cryptobotanist? I thought he was just a gardener.
That may well be his preferred label. Mine, however, is more accurate.
Do you and Fitz not see eye to eye, Fifi?
We do not.
Well, I wouldn't have thought so. He's well over 6 foot and you've got to be just barely 5.
So what's your problem with him?
Exactly 1 week ago, I witnessed him sneaking up Pointer Tower. He was making every effort to avoid detection.
So?
He was also carrying a knife. Name, Fiona Fellow. Age, 19. Profession, amateur microbiologist. Likes, the meaningful archiving of information. Dislikes, the superfluous window dressing accompanying the majority of human contact. Notes, kindly disregard the polysyllabic form of my given forename and refer to me instead as Fifi.
How come you prefer Fifi?
How come you prefer Grimoire?
How are you related to the other fellows?
Fitz is my cousin. His father, a man named Flint, was my uncle.
Was?
I do not know if Flint is alive or not. He left Tangle Tower a long time ago.
And what about Freya? How are you related to her?
We share exactly one grandparent. Name, Felix Fellow. Age, 53. Profession, none. Likes, collecting objects of negligible monetary value and assigning them personal value. Dislikes, the inescapable realities of human existence. Notes, Felix is my father and legal guardian.
And, is he a good dad?
I have no point of comparison, but I would say no.
No? Why not?
You asked me a binary question. Do not get upset that I provided one of the two possible answers.
What makes him a bad father, Fifi?
He has trouble expressing his emotions, and something of a willful detachment from reality.
Huh. Just like you, then.
Grimoire.
No, he is quite correct. Name, Penelope Pointer. Age, 27. Profession, ornithologist. Likes, birds. Dislikes, insects. Notes, Penelope is very beautiful. I have never had very much in common with her. Name, Percival Pointer. Age, 57. Profession, none.
I'm pretty sure he's an astronomer.
Oh yes, of course. How uncharacteristically forgetful of me. Name, Hawkshaw. Age, unknown. Profession, private detective. Likes, quote, being left alone. Dislikes, quote, being constantly badgered by a weirdo nerd with a clipboard. Name, Flora Fellow. Age, 44. Profession, unknown. Likes, unknown. Dislikes, unknown.
Isn't she your mother? How do you not know anything?
I believe other people may have discovered methods of reaching her, but I have little capacity for interpreting nonverbal communication.
And how long has Flora been, non-verbal?
She has always been quiet, willing to speak when necessary, but not more.
So what happened to make her stop talking entirely?
She suffered a great loss, something she has been unable to move beyond.
There's something about that diary we found in Fifi's room. Something suspicious.
Let's ask her about it.
There's something about the report of Fitz going up Pointer Tower. Something suspicious.
Let's ask him about it. That's all the statements.
Let's go over them all. That's all the statements collected. Let's run through them all to see if anything doesn't add up.
To see if anyone's been lying.
That too.
Fitz and I were up in the Moonlight Garden most of the afternoon. Then we heard this sound. Lasted about 3 seconds.
We thought it was coming from Flora's tower, so we went up there.
Her door was locked. Nobody was answering. So I made Fitz kick down the door.
Poppy and I went in. Freya was right there, laying on her back.
I left my tower and headed down towards the Grand Hall.
But in the hall, I spotted Uncle Pointer heading down the stairs. I vacated the library, but before I could begin my ascent, Professor Pointer appeared.
I didn't know what to do, so I ran downstairs to get Fifi.
I heard someone heading down the stairs. They're just outside my room.
Someone began banging on the door. I ignored it until the someone began shouting at me.
Eventually, she let me in.
I spotted Detective Hawkshaw coming out of the library.
He emerged from the Pointer staircase, crossed the hall, and begun up the fellow staircase. As I was passing through the front door, Penelope called out from behind me. I inquired about the professor, and she told me he'd gone up the fellow tower.
I told her what had happened. She didn't believe me. She got angry.
I thought she was playing a trick on me, so I punched her in the face.
I recognized Fiona's voice as well as the voice of my own daughter.
We left the room, and Poppy's father was waiting outside. He followed us upstairs.
I ran up the stairs, hoping to catch up with him, but Felix appeared and blocked my path.
Back in the hallway, I bumped into a very concerned-looking Penelope. She was heading up Fellow Tower to find Professor Pointer. So I escorted her.
Poppy left the room for a while. When she came back, she had her father with her, and Fifi too.
Felix and Penny arrived shortly after we did.
A moment later, we were gazing down on the body of poor Freya.
Then I took a sample of the red paint on the unfinished painting.
She took me down to the library. We were in there about 15 minutes.
I quickly decided that I should leave also. I took Penelope with me, and we both went back to our rooms in Pointer Tower.
I wanted to go back to my room, but I realized nobody had told Detective Hawkshaw anything.
An unremarkable hour passed before the gardener finally made his appearance.
I think she was annoyed about being made to wait outside so long. But when I told her about Freya, she fell silent.
That's disappointing.
What is?
All the statements line up with each other.
They don't just line up. Some of them even seem to specifically confirm each other.